So we're at the hot water heater today, do a little routine maintenance. We're gonna flush this thing out, keep it operating as clean and efficient as the first day we got it. The routine maintenance for a hot water heater is very important. It keeps it running for a lot longer with less problems than if you don't do the routine maintenance. So today, we're gonna flush this hot water heater system out. The first thing you do to do this, turn the unit off and disconnect the power. After you disconnect the power from your hot water heater, you come down here to your isolation valves and turn your cold water valve off and your hot water valve off. This isolates your hot water heater from your house. Now, if your hot water heater didn't come with these valves, I'll leave an Amazon affiliate link in the description to a set of these valves that you can get. You might have to buy some additional parts depending on whether your house is plumbed with PEX, PVC, or copper. Now that you've isolated your hot water heater from your house, you can take these little caps off. These little caps are going to connect to hoses so you can flush your system. So I made up two 5-foot long hoses and a clear vinyl hose and two garden hose adapters. You want to connect one to the hot and one to the cold. You will need a water pump for this operation. Now, I got this little water pump off Amazon for 20 bucks, and I'll leave a link to it in the description. You go to buy a water pump, you want to make sure the head height of that water pump is higher than wherever your bucket is to your hot water heater. In my case, it's about 4 feet, maybe a little bit more. This pump has a 10-foot head height, so I know it can pump water from the bucket on the floor up through my hot water heater. Connect this water pump to your cold water intake. You want to make sure the water is going the same direction through your hot water heater. Put your pump in your bucket, and then you'll put your cleaning solution in your bucket. Now, my manufacturer of my hot water heater recommends that I use white vinegar with a 5% acidity. So I'll put about 3 to 4 gallons of white vinegar in here, and we'll get this thing going. When you get the vinyl hose, it's coiled up, and it takes a while to get it to stretch out straight. So what I've done is put a couple zip ties, making sure not to pinch either hose, to hold the hoses together, and then the weight of the pump will keep them both underwater. Open your service ports to your cold water and your hot water side of your hot water heater. That way the water can circulate through the system. Plug your pump in and let it circulate for about an hour. This has been running for a little over an hour since I lost track of time. I'm going to go ahead and unplug the pump, and then we'll get this vinegar solution out of our hot water heater. Now that the pump's turned off, turn off your cold water service port and take this hose off. Now the hose that's on the hot water service port, take that and drain that. Hold it up out of the bucket of water, it should drain itself, and most of the water out of your hot water tank. Now I'm going to set this into my drain pan for now, just to let any water go into the drain pan, and then it goes right outside. We'll put the cold water service port back on there. And now we have a vinegar solution inside the hot water heater that we don't particularly want to send through the house. We don't want to have that vinegar smell when you turn the hot water on. So we leave this hot water service port hose, leave this on here. We're going to use this to flush that vinegar smell out of the hot water heater. So the hose from your hot water service port, we happen to have a window with a cat door in it, right there. I'm going to stick that out there. We're going to turn the cold water supply back on. That's going to let cold water flush through the system, out through here instead of going down through the house and outside. Let that run for a little while, 5 minutes or so. Get all that vinegar smell out of there, and then we'll finish hooking the water back up so it goes to the house. Well, I think we're good. We'll get this shut off, and tomorrow morning we'll have an ice skating rink outside. I simply shut the water off in the service port to the hot water side. So now both the valves to the service valve system are shut off on the hot water side. You take your service hose off there, put the cap back on, turn the hot water back on so it goes from your cold through your hot water heater into your hot water side. Remember, I stopped flushing the system by turning the valve off at the service port on the hot water side. That means there's no air bubbles inside the system. All the air bubbles got flushed out when I flushed it with water and shot the water outside. This isn't a big deal. If you shut the water off the cold water side, not a big deal. Turn the water on the cold water side, turn the water on at the hot water side, and before you plug it in, go to your sink and turn on the hot water. Get all those air bubbles out of your hot water heater. You don't want air bubbles in there when it starts trying to heat the water up. Once you've got all the air bubbles out, plug your hot water heater in. Might want to wait for it to go through its system. Once it's done its own little check system from plugging it in, turn it on, and now you have hot water again. This bucket wasn't brand new, so it's kind of hard to see if there's anything in there. But the more stuff you find in your bucket at the end of this flush, the more often you're going to want to flush your system. The harder your water, the faster it's going to build up. So the water heater's been flushed out and is back in service. I'll leave an Amazon affiliate link in the description to all the parts, everything I used here today, including these little service valves. In case your hot water heater didn't come with these valves, you can purchase some of those. It makes flushing the system a whole lot easier. If you feel like supporting the channel, we have Patreon Subscribe Star. Until next time, go make something.